What is up, YouTube? It is Doc here, Docky Style Gaming, and I am back at it again with another Risk of Rain video for you all today. And in this video, we are taking a look at one of the newest survivors that was recently added with the Survivors of the Void expansion, and that is the Void Fiend, who is personally probably my favorite new survivor in Risk of Rain 2. But like I always say, without wasting any more of y'all's time, let's hop straight into this video and break down everything you need to know about the Void Fiend. So first and foremost, let's talk about unlocking the Void Fiend. Now there's two ways you can currently unlock him in game. One of them is by beating the brand new boss that was added with the expansion that you can get to through a bunch of different methods. One of the easiest ways is right after you beat Mithrix. If you go all the way to the end, back to the starting point, essentially go to the frog and spend some of your lunar tokens, you'll get a portal that will let you go through it to fight this new boss. Now the new boss is a pain in the ass, I'm not even gonna lie. So for those players who might not be up to the task on beating the new boss to unlock the Void Fiend, you can also go to the brand new game mode, the Simulacrum, which luckily all you have to do is get to 50 waves. Now this is super easy to do, at least in my opinion, depending on the survivor that you go in there with. I think I went in there myself with the railgunner and it was still pretty fun, and once you get up there and start getting a bunch of items, it can turn into god mode pretty easily, so it's not too hard to get to level 50. But once you complete one of those two methods, you will then unlock the Void Fiend himself. Now the Void Fiend, like I said, is definitely one of my favorite new survivors in the game. I thought it was going to be railgunner, but just the abilities and traversal and how much damage you can do, I've been like, all right, yep, Void Fiend is where it's at. So let's go over his passive, his primaries, and the rest of his abilities in this video. Now, when we go take a look at the loadout, it's actually interesting because unlike some of the other survivors, he doesn't have two different abilities to choose from, and that's because his main gameplay style, he essentially already has two of each ability. He has his corrupted abilities and his basic abilities. Now his passive is essentially what's going to let you dictate which abilities you can use, because his passive gives you the ability to switch from his normal form to his corrupted form. While you're playing with the Void Fiend, you'll see a little circular gauge on the side that goes from 0 to 100. Once it hits 100, it'll go into his corrupted form, which will then give you access to his new corrupted abilities, which in most cases are more powerful versions than your basic abilities. Now when the Void Fiend is corrupted, he actually does get an additional 100 armor while he's corrupted, and whenever you're transforming between the forms, the abilities do reset as well. Now when it comes to the Void Fiend's primary attack, he has Drown, which essentially fires a slow long range beam that deals 300% damage. It also inflicts slow as well. Now again, when you become corrupted, you get access to new abilities, which will give you his corrupted form of his primary attack called Corrupted Drown. Now the Corrupted Drown fires a short range beam that deals 2,000 damage. It doesn't look like it has infinite range because there is definitely a cutoff from what I see, but the beam does go out pretty far. It's also super killer for melting bosses as well. The amount of damage you do with Corrupted Drown is insane, even before taking into consideration all of the other items you'll have on your build. Next, his secondary attack is called Flood. Now it has a 4-second cooldown, but it fires a plasma missile that deals 600% damage. Now you can charge it and it'll deal an explosive plasma ball that deals 1,100 damage. Now what's nice about Flood is that you can still sprint while it's charging, and you can consistently hold down the charge if you want to. And it's not too bad of an ability for pushing enemies back as well. Now when you get into your corrupted state, you will gain access to the corrupted version of this ability called the Corrupted Flood, which will fire an arcing plasma bomb that deals 1,100% damage. Now it sounds familiar, but what's different is you don't have to consistently charge it to deal that 1,100% damage. With Corrupted Flood, it will just keep shooting out that ball of damage for over 1,100%. And ultimately, depending on how you feel about it, the corrupted version of this will push the Void Fiend back, but it won't actually push back enemies. So depending on your playstyle, this might be a good or bad thing, but personally, I don't mind it either way. Now moving on to the Void Fiend's utility ability, which is honestly my favorite, especially once you start getting items that let you spam it multiple times. Your traversal is insane, and the height that you can get is insane, but it is called Trespass. Now, Trespass has a 5-second cooldown, but the description reads that it disappears into the void, cleansing all debuffs while moving in an upward arc. Now again, when you have multiple items on this build, it can make it crazy fun, and the height that you can get with it is pretty insane. I was literally using this non-stop to traverse everything. I think I was able to use it like 3 times back to back, and it is stupid how high you can get with this ability. Now, like, everything else with Void Fiend, he also has this corrupted version of this ability called the Corrupted Trespass. Now, it's almost identical to normal Trespass, whereas in this version, instead of going in an upward arc, you'll be transported in a horizontal direction. Now, the distance of Corrupted Trespass is shorter, but it is a nice way to still traverse and honestly get out of a couple sticky situations. In my opinion, it's a very fast and very useful tool for just about everything in the game. Whether it's boss fights, traversing, or just getting around enemies to avoid some damage, it does come in handy a lot. I think I was consistently using this in the Mithrix fight just to stay in the air to avoid some of his attacks before I drop back down to deal damage, and again, it was coming in handy a lot. And honestly, like I said, one of my most fun abilities to mess around with this build. Now, last but not least, when it comes to the Void Fiend, we have his special ability, which is called Suppress. Now, Suppress lets you take 25% of your corruption meter and use it to heal 25% of your max health, whereas the corrupted version of it lets you take 25% of your max health, but you get to stay in your corrupted form a little longer, meaning you can use your corrupted attacks a lot more. So it's a bit of a risk-reward situation. So if you want to deal some more damage, you have to sacrifice a bit extra life for the corrupted version, or if you don't mind going straight into your corrupted form, you can heal yourself by taking away 25% of it. Again, the corrupted meter, in my opinion, adds a lot to his gameplay, and I feel like that's part of the reason why I've been having the most fun playing with Void Fiend. Again, Void Fiend is by far my favorite new survivor in the game, so if you haven't unlocked him, I highly recommend you do. He is super fun to mess around with, and like I said, I don't think I've stopped playing with him since I've unlocked him. And then lastly, for all of you wondering, here is what his alternate outfit looks like, called Purified, which honestly, if you unlock it, I'm pretty sure that's the version you're going to be playing with. But that is pretty much Void Fiend in a nutshell. Again, if you haven't, I highly recommend you go and unlock this character. If you haven't played Risk of Rain 2, I highly recommend you play Risk of Rain 2. Again, I've been playing it on and off like crazy. It's one of those games that I know it's been out for a while, and I knew a lot of people were talking about it and it got killer reviews, but it was just like, I'll mess around with it at some point, and it wasn't until I actually got the chance to play it, I'm just like, wow, okay. I am kind of salty nobody told me how much fun this game was, and honestly, ever since I've been playing it, I really haven't been stopping. But that's all I really got for this video, so let me know if you've unlocked the Void Fiend or Risk of Rain 2, and if you have, let me know if he's your favorite survivor in the game as well. Like I said, for me, I have not played with anybody else since I've unlocked him, and honestly, I've just been having too much fun. But I'm curious to know if anybody's unlocked him, and if anybody has actually beat that final boss, because my god, that new boss in the game is ridiculous. But other than that, I will catch you all in the next one. So thank you all for watching. Like always, if you haven't, be sure to join the Discord. A link to that is in the video description, along with a link to the Twitch channel as well, because that is where I currently stream. Other than that, I will catch you all in the next one, guys. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the subs. Peace.